I don't care. All right. How y'all doing tonight? It's your boy King David. All right, let's turn this down just a little bit. Shout out to my new subscribers, my old school subscribers, and my TikTok family. Wasn't for you guys, none of this would be possible. With no further ado, let's get into it. Tonight's reaction video, be brought to you by Sarah Moore. I'm not very familiar with her, but let's see if the audio is good. There we go. Bring that up. So she has a video out recently that she put out with, but about men going their own way and the MGTOW movement. But I don't really call myself that. I gotta have my own movement, so I don't just follow others. You know, mine is the men's empowerment movement, the men's movement, men's movement for short. I want to make sure that I go down my own lane. I don't just pick up other people's, talking points or whatever, acronyms or, names they come up with. So anyway, she's talking about this, and I'm not going to hold you guys too long. I'm not going to monologue for too long. But listen, there's a lot of points that I agree with. But the problem that I have, turn this down just a little bit. There we go. The problem that I have is that it just seems like they're always attaching a little bit too much information. It just seems weird to me. I mean, like, it doesn't seem like she's making good points about, our movement is getting, it's getting some airs, it's getting noticed, but they're still coming to the table with demands. Not so much demands, but still reverse psychology, women's ways of thinking type of stuff. So what I want to do, okay. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get this started. With no further ado, we're going to get right into it. You guys do me a favor, hit the like button, share the live, and subscribe. Again, this video is about she's trying to explain why men are doing the MGTOW movement, or, like I said, the man movement, where we're just trying to get our power back, man. We're just trying to, hey, listen, you guys do whatever you want to do, ladies. We don't care. Leave us alone. It's been said like this numerous times. We don't need, what you guys have to understand, you cannot listen to these women telling you, don't get too jaded, don't go too far right, don't red pill rage. They're going to tell you whatever needs to be said so they can salvage what man they can possibly, they got a, you know what I'm saying? They got a leg in this. They're not married. If they're married, they wouldn't even be talking bad about it. They'd be right along with us from the beginning, because they understand, they support their man. If they're unmarried, they're going to have their own agenda. Their agenda is going to be, well, I don't want, hey, listen, you guys do what you have to do, but don't give up on us. And they'll give you all this psychobabble stuff about how, you don't want to go too far and you end up really jaded and you might miss out. There's so many, I've heard women say things like you don't want to be single for too long or come off a certain kind of way. You might miss out on God's blessings. There's no such thing. If whatever mood I'm in or wherever I'm at, if the woman I'm meant to be with, I don't end up with her or I don't notice her, then it is what it is. It don't matter. It ain't meant to be. They're always trying to find a way to make you feel like they're needed. You know what I'm saying? And no one needs anybody. We all want somebody, but nobody needs anybody. You need God, and that's it. Nobody needs anybody. So I'm just, I don't know, man. I'm just doing whatever I can to try to, get our point across to these women who just don't understand. They're trying to see things from their perspective. And I don't care what this woman says. Understand something. Until we started doing what we're doing right now and keeping our foot down, no woman said anything. No woman. They were just riding along with it, maybe quietly. Well, there's the obvious ones that are out there, the men advocates like, Crimson Cure, Danica Marie, but like the married women. But the single ones, they weren't. They listen. A lot of times in this video, you're going to ask, Sarah Moore, how does that fence feel that you're sitting on? Because she really just straddles the fence, because they got to kind of somewhat appease to the gynocracy. I guess they feel like it'll get their point across, even though those women don't want to hear anything unless you're telling them what they want to hear. So, but it's so funny. Women are always telling you, you got to be able to take criticism from random people, but women don't listen to nobody. It's projecting on you all the time. They listen to nobody, but they're always telling you that you need to be listening to them. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. But look, we get the party started. With no further ado, let's get right into it.
And today we're going to talk about why men are going their own way. If you're new here, you probably clicked on this and you're looking at a woman talking about men's issues, wearing a Men Matter shirt going, okay, what have we have here? Well, welcome to my channel. So I want to talk about why men are going their own way, in regards to feminism, Me Too, the empathy gap, why women have contributed to the problem and have pushed men to this side of the world, the internet, this type of movement. I also want to share a personal story of how I would say I found myself in almost a female version of women going their own way when I was at a really dark time in my life. So without further ado, if you like this kind of content.
And also, no offense to this young lady. Again, this is Sarah Moore. Fair use. Just put my perspective, just a Sigma's perspective on it, an actual man's perspective. How do I phrase? Just, gentlemen, always peep game on how they seem to colonize certain terminologies we have, or the trauma bonding, the trying to find a way to relate to you. So that way, when they hit you with their blows, they've softened you up already, right? It's about being able to read between the lines and just picking up on the verbiage, but let's get it. Let's go.
Please subscribe, like the video, thumbs up, and let's get started. So I don't think that anyone is denying that feminism and the Me Too movement have caused, I think if we were to do an autopsy, right? If we were to do a history autopsy as to what that movement really did. Unfortunately, as a woman, I absolutely have been sexually harassed in the workplace. It was uncomfortable. It was my first job. I was 21 years old and it sucked. There was absolutely no ramifications or punishment for the person that did it. And thus,
I do want to start off by saying that I am so sorry for any young women out here that's had to deal with that. That is uncalled for and unacceptable. And not a single man in my movement, and to my knowledge, any of the MGTOW, whatever movement or whatever, or even the alphas walking away, that are condoning any of that behavior. But again, my apologies, and I hate that has happened to you, ladies, at jobs and stuff like that. Let's continue.
The Me Too movement was not a thing. It wasn't around at the time. Now, do I think that it has swung to the opposite extreme? 100%. I've seen men who have done nothing. I've seen men that have placed a hand on a woman's back and have been called into HR. I've seen lies women have told. Men have lost their jobs because of it. So, right, the tensions are very high because now it's believe all women, hashtag. I mean, I can't believe that hashtag even exists. Like, there's literally a hashtag that says believe all women, when really we don't take into account women who have BPD or narcissistic personality disorder or any of those personality disorders that could contribute to a woman just flat out lying to ruin a man. So I really do think that we are in a very, very, very weird time when it comes to men and women. The tensions couldn't be higher.
I think she's hitting the nail on the head with these talking points. So I just want to say, bravo. She is hitting the nail on the head with these talking points so far. She doesn't miss in the beginning. It's only towards the end. But also understand how women move, gentlemen. They soften you up in the beginning with relatable talking points, trauma bonding, whatever needs to be done, trying to sympathize with you, whatever. So that way when they hit you with the but or however or the whatever. And remember, when someone says but, it negates everything before it. But anyway, you know what I mean? When they say but or they say in addition to, they're going to hit you with the he. They're going to hit you with that 3-piece. What's going on? I guess I got the volume up too loud. They're going to hit you with it hard. Okay? So just because they're saying stuff that you agree with in the beginning, just take it with stride. Okay? Because she's building up and she's getting somewhere. Okay? And you'll see it. It'll all come together. Remember, hit the like button, share the live, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all.
So men are really being forced, some of them, into this part of the world and this part of the internet where they're having to make some decisions. I can either put myself in the line of fire. After a divorce, I was taken advantage of. All these things happened. I gave my life to a woman, and they're just basically checking out. But I don't necessarily think they're checking out on themselves, because a lot of these men are getting their fitness in check.
So remember, okay, remember I told you earlier in the earlier video to pay attention to not really what women say, but how they move. The way she's moving right now, we're being noticed. What are we always talking about? Fitness, being on your purpose, you know, getting closer to God. They're noticing this, gentlemen. What did I tell you the other day? How they got a bird's eye view. See, this is our problem. A lot of men take women for granted, and they see them in their phones and they're thinking they're just cheating. They're not just doing that. They're looking at things from a bird's eye view. That's how a lot of women stay on top of their fashion and stuff like that. They check out like celebrities or trending stuff that everybody ain't onto yet, try to jump onto it, be the first one to get onto it before their friends so they can go ahead and brag about it. So they're able to see trends as well, like as far as movements or whatever, and they're seeing the writing on the wall. You know, they're hearing it, and so they're just like, okay, they're being proactive, right? You know, so they're trying to make their moves and kind of like get their bids in, but the problem is they're putting too much verbiage attached to it. It needs to be, hey, look, we see what you guys are doing, and we're going to do what needs to be done to, you know, make you guys want to come back around. Not, we see what you guys are doing. I also went through this. You don't want to go too far because you'll end up on the same type of level as the gynocracy, but on the other end of the spectrum where you're just all about not liking women. We don't want to hear all that, man. We don't want to hear all that. Okay? I don't care what you think. You know, respectfully. You know, I don't care what you're thinking. Men and women don't think the same. Respectfully. So if we're making this movement, we cannot let you start, because what did I tell y'all? Their weapons are their words. So if they start breaking us down into thinking that we're doing something wrong or we're going to end up being jaded, don't worry about how we end up. What you need to be worried about is getting those females in line and making sure that the ladies and the women are out in the forefront, being louder than them. Get them in check. Don't worry about us and what we're doing. We'll let you know when we're ready to come back to the table. What we're not going to do is that women lead us from behind with all this fancy verbiage and getting into our mind. We're not doing that, okay? Hey, look, I'm a general on this battlefield, okay? You cannot put nothing in the words that I'm not going to pick up on. And I got the men's back. You're not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Working. They are focused on their career. They're not dating anymore because it was terrible for them. So they're good. Like, they're not necessarily missing women because they can either pay for it or they can get their needs met other ways, but they're missing kind of the drama that some women can bring. And I don't think that they're necessarily very sad about it. And I don't blame some of them. Society keeps reminding.
Another good point that she made, and remember these points. She understands why we walked away, and she understands that basically we're avoiding the drama that most women bring. Now, when she tries to bring this together, I'm going to have a counter for her point, okay? I always do. But watch how the conversation is moving. Pay attention to the way that she's moving, not so much as the words, because some people, like I've said before, they specialize in speaking very soft, very monotone, very nice, you know, eloquent, and at the same time they're saying some stuff that you really should be paying attention to.
Them that the future is female, that women are being pushed to attend STEM schools. I was given jobs over male counterparts because at one point, you know, as a female, I was considered a diversity and equity and inclusion person, which, okay, right? Like, we have even things out. I was hired for a job that there were, 50 men in the sales.
Building relatability.
sales force, and I was the number 2 female. So we did have to go through this time where things kind of even themselves out. But it's almost as if now women are like reveling in the power of that, and reveling in the fact that it's like there can't be equality. It's now I have to put a man down. I have to be better than a man in order to have power, or in order to feel.
Another great point.
That this move.
Another great point that she's making. They've basically, like I've said, and she said in her own way, that they're basically colonizing even the bad parts of us where we were, so-called oppressing them. Now they're doing it, right? And they're enjoying it. They're basking in it. You know what I'm saying? They're basking in it. They're able to destroy men from their jobs, to going to the gym, to, their name for themselves, off of, fake allegations or whatever they want to over embellish or whatever. And they're basking in it. So they went from being oppressed to being a slave master, right? To all men. It's crazy. Hey, what's going on, homie? What's going on? Man, I'm doing great. I wasn't even planning on doing the podcast tonight, but I heard this video and I had to drop one because I'm supposed to be on TikTok right now, but I had to drop this one. I appreciate you joining me.
Feminism and all of this is worth it. It seemed to have gotten so hostile, and women, I think some women have contributed to that. There was this women's march video that people were slamming sticks and, chanting, and it almost looked like a group of men. It looked like a parade of men just stomping around. And
she needs to be more specific. A parade of men doing what? A parade of men doing something like, holding the American flag and saluting whatever, or a group of males doing something wrong. See, again, conflation. You gotta like separate the two. You can't just put us all in the same box. Again, this is how I go through listening to women talk. This is what I do. I'm just giving you guys a live example because it doesn't matter what they're saying. I can read between the lines. I'm just showing you guys what I can see. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I guess if you go back to the burning of the bras and the liberation of women, we accomplished those things. But now do I think that we need it? Now do I think that it's necessary? Now are men, kind of like going, what's going on? Okay, fine. If you don't need us, then good luck. Go ahead. Like, be a plumber, be an electrician, be a lineman, and go service the electrical.
Okay. Make sure you pay attention to this point she's making, okay? This is like the point that I keep making and saying things like, if these women really don't like us, leave us alone. She's making her references. It's the same thing. Build your own infrastructure, go ahead and, do your own plumbing, take over some of these jobs like the satellite repair where the guys hundreds and hundreds, of feet in the air, can barely even see the ground. Go do that stuff, that high risk, type of jobs, instead of, relying on men to do those jobs while saying you can't stand men and you cannot be around men and men aren't needed. It makes absolutely no sense.
Lines outside, and good luck with that. I think, and women, if that was the world that we lived in, we would be absolutely screwed. So
facts, very narcissistic.
Some things need to happen to try and get our men back. The divorce laws need to be changed. We need the prenups that people sign need to be upheld in court. There are some things that I think from a logical perspective, if any woman were to sit back and say, okay, what are the things that men are facing right now? And what are the reasons why they are potentially just taking themselves off of the market or not wanting to be around women at all? I'm not gonna lie, there's some things that I can understand and I can empathize with. And that's what I mean about the empathy gap, is that a lot of women have failed to realize that we can have empathy towards men while also supporting them, while also going to work and continuing, fighting for, I won't say pay gap because that's really not an issue, but whatever fight, I don't even know what feminists are fighting for anymore because I'm not a feminist. So I'm like, you do you, ladies, keep fighting.
I don't think anybody knows what feminists are fighting for at this point, but I didn't mean to say that. I mean the gynocracy. I gotta be careful with that, right? It's crazy how they can say whatever, and you know what, whatever.
Like, what feminist groups are fighting for men as well? Like, very few. Now, the part of the story, though, that I want to tell you from a personal standpoint when it comes to me and where I was at after going through a series of bad breakups and going through some of the hardest times that I'd ever gone through, just disappointment in men, one after the other. I have been hurt by quite a few men. And what happens are two different things. Now, men, this is not meant to shame you, okay? So trust me when I say this. I am here.
Hey, what do you know when someone tells you something like, hey, don't take offense to this. This is meant to hurt your feelings, or everything that comes after that is going to be something that's going to probably you're not going to care for. But again, I had listened to her other points that let her bring herself to this point, so let's go ahead and hear her out.
On your side, and I 100% understand.
See, listen, again, when somebody really has a good point that's not going to be misinterpreted, they don't have to say all that before they say it. They can just say it. And I've cut women off before that's like, hey, can I ask you a question? No. If you had a question that wasn't going to be anything that needed all of that, then you would just ask it. All right? Obviously, you have something that I'm not going to agree with.
Where you are at. What I think happens, though, is the same thing that happens to women. Women will go through pain, right? They will go through heartbreak. And
gentlemen, again, before she gets started with this, we know that men and women are not the same. We don't handle pain the same. We don't compartmentalize things the same. We don't, okay? Hang on for a second, y'all. Sorry, y'all. Kids are just nonstop sneezing. I had to give them a Kleenex or something. Just nonstop sneezing. See what's going on real quick. But you got the humidifier going now, and so let's keep it going.
Be incredibly disillusioned when it comes to men. I went through a period of about 2 years where I didn't even want to be in the same room with men besides my family or my brothers because they couldn't hurt me. There are other times when I was just devastated and I didn't know what it was. I just thought, I'm done with men. I want nothing to do with them, until I realized that I was picking the wrong men, that I was dating the wrong men, that I was putting myself in situations.
Do you see where she's going with this? Do you see? I'll tell you. She's letting you know you're picking the wrong women, and she's trying to tell you you're putting yourself around the wrong people, as if she knows anything about how men move, how we think. She's just doing this from a woman's perspective once again, and the only reason why she's doing this is because she sees her numbers are getting low, her dating options, because I don't think she's married. Now, if she's married, hey, listen, I'll take that on the L. Maybe on the chin. Maybe she's just a married woman that can't stand to see men aren't in the slave trade anymore. So, and not on the plantation. So she has to come out here and try to relate to us, do a little trauma bonding, and slide her influence in through, her telling the story of what she went through, pairing it, basically to whatever you're going through in this moment, which most men are, not really dealing with women, staying away from them. So just peep game, okay? Just peep game.
That were causing me pain, and I was choosing men that were ultimately going to hurt me. I think that a lot of men find themselves in this space because they have been devastated by women, and they have been hurt by the divorce court, and they have
all right,
woken up and been.
I'm trying to make sure that she ain't looking great. Fair use. Again, that's not how men think. We're not devastated. We're not destroyed. We're not all these different words that you choose to use to describe us. what we are we getting smarter? The same with it, they have had their game going on, using the system, take advantage of us. We have also adapted. We have adjusted. We have upgraded as well. So all these different terminologies, listen, y'all can go through a therapist's book and drop every kind of whatever verbiage you want to. We're not listening to it. We're not. We don't care. Okay? So all this stuff that's being, just stop, man. Just stop. Let us do what we're going to do until you got all. What you need to do is get the women in line and not worry about us. Get the louder women that are the boisterous, women that are running around, trying to be promiscuous and preaching that stuff. Talk to them. Don't worry about what we're doing. We're going to do what we're going to do regardless of whatever you try to put in front of us. I'm a general out here, man. I ain't letting none of us fall for this stuff.
With these women who have personality disorders or who are narcissistic or who are just highly disturbed, who have cheated on them, who have caused them so much pain, and they find themselves just absolutely desperate and absolutely just done 100%, like they just write it off. But you don't necessarily transcend, and that's okay. If you don't want to, I have no problem with that.
Who made her God and can tell you how you transcend? And you know what I'm saying? Like, how is she going to tell you what you need to do to transcend, what you need to do to ascend, what you need to do? I hear crazy women talking like you won't get God's favor. I want y'all to understand something, you crazy ass women. When y'all are sitting out here projecting onto us, telling us what we're not going to get because we're not doing what you want us to do or moving the way you want us to move, and you don't understand it, that don't mean that God's going to give the punishment to us that you think is deemed necessary. It doesn't work like that. If it did, men wouldn't be advancing like we are. So keep projecting, throwing witchcraft. Not saying that she's doing it, fair use. I'm talking about the other women I hear talking that crazy stuff like God won't bless you. Ladies, sit down. If you ain't got a man yet, God ain't blessing you. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. So again, listen to the verbiage. Men know what men need to do, and what men don't need to be doing is listening to a woman telling you what to do. Definitely not a married woman, and definitely not a woman that's talking along the lines of your game plan and your strategy, what you got going on. Hearing counter arguments and devil's advocate stuff for whatever reason, it ain't going to make you never mind. It don't go towards your agenda. Who cares? But hey, listen. Gotta listen to them, make some content.
There is nothing wrong with you. You absolutely have 100% agency to do whatever it is that you want. But at some point, there is self-reflection that has to happen. And for me, it was identifying, okay, these were the patterns. These were the traits that I was attracted to. These were some of the things that I would see in the early stages of a relationship with the men that I was dating. So what can I do moving forward to avoid these types of patterns? Right? When I started dating someone, it's like, what could I do when I started to see these things emerge? Because it was really me that didn't feel as though that I had power.
Doesn't really matter what she's talking about. That's her woman's perspective. As a man, we ain't got time to be weeding through the mud. You know what I'm saying? To sift through the mud, trying to find, or on a beach, looking for a grain of sand on a big beach with a bunch of, women that just want to do whatever and try to, no. We're not listening to this stuff, okay? So let her just ramble on about whatever she's rambling on about. Fair use. Again, men don't think like women. She's allowed to think however she wants to. Do not allow them to project onto you what they think that you should be doing or whatever they went through and how they got through it. It doesn't mean nothing because that's not how men move. However she got through what she got through, we don't know what kind of help she got, who was there for her, whatever. As a man, you can be by yourself. Nobody cares. So don't listen to this babbling about, respectfully, about how she got over and what you're going to be stuck in and what you're not going to be able to get. It makes never mind. It's just women trying to make sure that they still have a cleanup guy when they get done doing whatever they want to do, living their best life, being free and liberated, and
or self-agency over myself to make better decisions. So what happens is that women will find themselves in these, ultra feminist, ultra man-hating places on TikTok, places on social media and other places where they get validated, where they feel as though their pain, right, is justified. Like all men are narcissists.
Okay. I got to wrap this up. She's, I got some food in the oven. She's just trying to, okay, she's given the perspective of a woman that's jaded going to these, but she's really talking about men, okay? Peep game. She's talking about men going to certain parts of the web and getting, some people call it red pill game or whatever, or just getting the information that you need and then acting like you're not a man and don't know how to gather information, just like listening to her. She said some good stuff in the beginning. I took some good stuff from. I don't need none of this stuff. The rest of this right here, I ain't listening to this stuff. I don't give a crap what she think. I don't need to go down that rabbit hole of what made her come to this conclusion out of all the relationships she had in her life and whatever situation she's in right now that makes her think. I don't care. And men don't care. We got our own way of doing stuff and listening to women tell us how to move and that stuff is over. It's done. It's done. Keep it moving.
Literally, like, that is where you go to the internet where you find these women who are saying all men are narcissists. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of a joke because I'm like, oh my God, I know where you were at, ladies. Like, let me bring you to the other side. Because
don't bring them nowhere. We don't need them. Let them stay over there and mind their business. I see what she's trying to do, but I'm saying leave us alone. Let us mind our business. You do what you got to do. We don't care. You know what I'm saying? We're going to still do what we got to do. I'm going to still get the information from wherever I want to get it from. If I get information from KS, if I end up getting information from Donovan Sharp, or if I get information from O'Shea Duke Jackson, if I get information from DD, or if I get information from any of these people online, even that SOS guy who I think is kind of like a stuck-up prick. If I get information from any of these people, then what I do is, just like I just said about the SOS guy, that podcast, I get information I need from him, but when he's being a prick and seeming like he's just the kind of guy that uses money to get what he needs, I don't want to hear none of that stuff. That junk's out the door. I don't care about your money, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what you got to do to get women, okay, cool. But that game don't apply to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need it. You know what I mean? I don't need the money to get them, and when I got the money, I still don't use it to get them. So, again, you know what I mean? But again, I ain't no millionaire yet, so he got me on there. Better be glad he got that, otherwise he wouldn't get no women. Anyway, this chick right here, I'm going to wrap it up.
Are there assholes and bitches? Yes.
How can they say all this stuff and I get flagged? Man, what is going on?
There are mean people everywhere, right? Like, you're surrounded by that. But I think what happens is that you have so many bad experiences with the opposite sex, and then you find yourself just so angry and so bitter. And you may not be that. That might not be the reason. You might have just...
And exactly. Remember, this is her perspective. One woman, you know what I'm saying? Whatever she's saying is not what you feel. It's just how she feels. Projected onto you. Projected onto you. We all have things to work on. Why these women are worried about trying to project onto us what they think our problem is, I have no idea. When they clearly have issues they need to be working on and fixing, but they feel like they're in some great place where they can deem themselves some kind of God to tell us where we need to be moving, how we need to be moving, because they're in a better place than we are. Says who? We don't know what you do behind closed doors. You wear a mask online. Who knows what you're doing? Don't listen to people babbling, man. Don't listen to people babbling.
Just accepted that, you know what? I'm not going to play in the space with women. I'm not going to have a romantic relationship with a woman. It's not worth it. The pain is negligible, and I respect that. But for me, I wanted to have a relationship. I wanted to heal myself and understand what I was attracting into my life and what was happening within my...
All right, my man, I appreciate you joining me.
Family structure, what I grew up with, my parents, how that impacted me and my relationship with women, and what I thought about my relationship with men. Sorry, Freudian slip. What I wanted to understand what was happening at a very deep level from a psychological standpoint. And now men are amazing. I have 100% healed my relationships with them, and they are some of the best people that I know. So I understand, this movement, and I hope that there are more women that begin to come forward, that are more women like myself, that are more women that try to show femininity, that try to show men that there are women out there that do care, that we do need you, that we do appreciate you for all that you do with our society. And I understand that Western women What's happening here is causing a lot of pain for a lot of men. But
it's not causing us pain. We're just leaving, man. It's just life lessons. It's not pain. We're just leaving, okay? So do what you do. Don't worry about us and all this other stuff and gaslighting what we're saying. And, well, you're a Western woman. Help them change, you know, and start making sure that the women like what you're claiming to be are out in the forefront, being louder than the women that are talking the crazy stuff. That's all you can do. And then get on here and let us know how much we're needed. You know what I mean?
there are women that do care, and there are women that do absolutely want you to know that a lot of us don't want you to go your own way. A lot of us don't want you to succumb to not being there for women, because I know that every time I'm walking down the street or every time I'm walking down the stairs, I put my hand out because I want a man leading me down the stairs. And I think that as women, we have an obligation and a responsibility to show men that they are needed, because I think that if we showed them that we would have potentially less of men going their own way. So whatever your reasons, I respect. I understand that we have a lot of work to do as a society to heal some of the wounds.
All right, guys. I'm not going to hold you on any longer. I got to get off of here. But you heard her perspective, and listen, you know, they are allowed to have whatever perspective they want to have. And, you know, we're not going to do nothing. We're going to keep heavy foot on you know what and heavy pressure. And, you know, whenever they're coming to the table talking right and not having the extra attached to it, then we'll move accordingly. Until then, we're not going to do nothing. All right. All this extra stuff, I just brought it here to you guys to show y'all how to break down and read between lines. Even when a woman is telling you somewhat of what you want to hear, there's always going to be some kind of backhandedness in there and some kind of hidden agenda. You have to look for that and figure out what her angle is, okay? So if she's single or whatever, then maybe her angle is just trying to make sure there's men on the line whenever she gets ready to start settling down. Who knows? You know what I mean? If they're married and they're talking like this, maybe looking to get a divorce and find, I have no idea. Maybe they're having arguments with their man. Most of the time they don't. You know what I mean? If they're married, they don't get online and you know, have any hidden agendas. But anyway, peace, love, and light, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Hit the like button, share the live, and subscribe. You know, just wanted to put this out here real quick. Seen the video, thought it'd be a great video to go ahead and react to. Got to get to bed. Might get on TikTok really quick. I might have burnt food in the oven. I got to go. Love y'all. Stay blessed. Have a great night.